Now! Help me move, me!
Take a moment before we move forward. What you're watching right now isn't just another short combat clip floating around the internet. These scenes represent real moments from a battlefield where history is being written minute by minute. Every explosion, every shout, every second of footage captures a small fragment of a much larger story that can't fully be explained in just a few minutes of edited video. War footage that circulates online often shows only brief highlights, but the reality behind those moments is far more complex. Entire battles unfold over hours, sometimes days, and the clips we see are only glimpses of that larger struggle. For viewers who prefer to see the events exactly as they happened without narration or editing, there is also access to longer raw recordings and uncensored updates. Those extended materials are shared through the community connected to WW2 Impact, where followers can explore the unfiltered side of battlefield reporting. But for now, let's return to the story unfolding here. The fighting continues, and this time the camera takes us directly into the trenches. Two Ukrainian defenders are positioned inside a narrow trench line as an advancing Russian assault force approaches their sector. This is the kind of warfare many people believe belonged to the past, grueling trench combat where survival depends on seconds, instincts, and whatever weapons are within reach. Suddenly, chaos erupts. An enormous explosion detonates just a few meters from their defensive position. The blast throws dirt, frozen soil, and shattered debris into the air. For a brief moment, the screen fills with dust and flying fragments. The soldiers are shaken by the shockwave, but there's no time to pause or recover. They immediately check their equipment and prepare to return fire. On this battlefield, hesitation can be fatal. One of the defenders raises his rifle, equipped with a GP-25 underbarrel grenade launcher. With quick movements, he launches explosive rounds high into the air, sending them arcing toward enemy soldiers who are trying to use terrain and debris for cover. Each grenade lands somewhere beyond the trench line, targeting positions the defenders cannot directly see. Moments later, the same soldier grabs another weapon, an RPG-7 rocket launcher. He rises just enough to aim over the trench edge and fires the rocket toward approaching Russian positions. The rocket streaks forward, leaving behind a trail of smoke as it heads toward its target. Meanwhile, gunfire echoes all around them. At one point, one of the soldiers shouts loudly that the enemy is tearing the house apart. This warning refers to a nearby structure where other Ukrainian troops are believed to be positioned. Heavy enemy fire, possibly from armored vehicles or tanks, is systematically destroying the building in an attempt to eliminate anyone inside. The attackers are using overwhelming firepower to break through the defensive line. The situation becomes even more dangerous as the distance between both sides shrinks rapidly. One of the defenders prepares a hand grenade. He pulls the pin and throws it over the dirt barrier protecting the trench. Hand grenades are typically used only when the enemy is extremely close, often within 30 or 40 meters. That alone shows just how near the assaulting troops have come. The soldier quickly loads another grenade into his launcher and fires again. Both defenders shout back and forth, trying to coordinate their shots. They call out distances, warn about targets, and adjust their aim as enemy soldiers continue moving closer. In these moments, communication becomes as important as the weapons themselves. This is the brutal reality of modern trench warfare in eastern Ukraine. Soldiers are forced to hold fixed defensive positions while facing constant threats from artillery, armored vehicles, and advancing infantry units. Explosions shake the ground, gunfire echoes through narrow trench corridors, and every second carries the possibility of another attack. In situations like this, there are only two outcomes: you defend your position successfully, or the enemy breaks through. There is rarely a safe escape. But the battlefield is no longer controlled only by soldiers and artillery. High above the trenches, another hunter watches silently. Small unmanned drones patrol the skies, scanning the ground below. From their perspective, the battlefield appears as a network of trenches, craters, ruined buildings, and scattered groups of soldiers moving across the landscape. Some Russian troops attempt to run across open fields, desperately searching for cover. Others dive into trenches or lie completely still on the ground, hoping the drone operator will overlook them. A few even pretend to be dead, believing the drone camera might mistake them for fallen soldiers. However, these tactics rarely work. Modern drones are equipped with advanced cameras, thermal sensors, and constant surveillance capability. Even small movements can reveal a soldier's position. The drones shown in this footage are not simple reconnaissance tools. They are first-person view combat drones, commonly called FPV kamikaze drones. These machines are small, fast, and directly controlled by a remote operator who sees through the drone's camera as if they were inside it. Instead of dropping bombs, the drone itself becomes the weapon. The operator guides it directly toward a chosen target with incredible precision. From hundreds of meters away, the drone tracks individual soldiers as they move across fields or attempt to hide near trees, trenches, or bunkers. If a target changes direction, the drone can quickly adjust its flight path. If someone runs for cover, the operator can follow. Once a soldier is identified and targeted, escaping becomes extremely difficult. The footage reveals how quickly these engagements occur. A soldier may be detected, tracked, and attacked in a matter of seconds. Some strikes happen so rapidly that the target never realizes they were being hunted in the first place. In other cases, soldiers attempt desperate evasive maneuvers, running, diving into trenches, or hiding behind debris. But the drone adjusts its trajectory again and again until it reaches the target. At the end of the footage, statistics appear on the screen. The numbers are astonishing. During a single month of operations, one specialized drone unit recorded nearly 5,000 combat engagements. That averages to more than 160 targets per day. These numbers demonstrate the massive scale at which drone warfare is now being conducted. The message displayed alongside the statistics even uses terminology originally created by Russian officials to describe the war, turning that language into a form of irony to emphasize the scale of Russian losses. What we are witnessing is a transformation in military strategy. A single drone regiment equipped with FPV technology can conduct thousands of operations without placing a pilot in danger. No fighter jets are required. No helicopter gunships. No massive artillery barrages. Instead, trained operators control drones using handheld controllers from protected locations kilometers away. From those safe positions, they systematically track and engage targets across the battlefield. This is what technological asymmetry looks like in modern warfare. When one side develops tools that dramatically increase efficiency, even a smaller force can challenge a larger and better equipped opponent. Drones have fundamentally reshaped how Ukraine conducts defensive operations in this conflict. At the beginning of the war, many units relied on improvised commercial quadcopters, simple civilian drones adapted for military use. But over time, those early experiments evolved into one of the most advanced drone warfare systems currently operating anywhere in the world. Let's break down how these small unmanned machines became such a powerful force multiplier. First comes reconnaissance and intelligence gathering. Small drones provide constant real-time observation over enemy territory. Instead of relying solely on aircraft or satellites, Ukrainian units can deploy inexpensive drones to monitor Russian troop movements, locate defensive positions, and identify concentrations of equipment. The information gathered by these drones is transmitted instantly to artillery units and command centers. This allows Ukrainian forces to react quickly and strike targets with much greater accuracy. In many cases, Russian units cannot move without being detected from above. Second is the widespread use of FPV attack drones. As mentioned earlier, these drones are remarkably inexpensive compared to traditional weapons. Building one can cost anywhere between a few hundred and a few $1,000s. Compare that to the cost of anti-tank missiles or armored vehicles. A modern missile system can cost tens of thousands of dollars per shot, while tanks and armored vehicles may cost millions. Yet a relatively cheap drone can disable or destroy those same assets. From an economic perspective, this imbalance creates enormous pressure on the opposing side. Expensive equipment can be lost to a weapon that costs only a fraction of the price. Third is artillery coordination. Drone operators often work directly alongside artillery units. They observe targets from the air, transmit coordinates, and adjust fire in real time. This dramatically increases accuracy. Instead of firing dozens of shells hoping to hit the target area, artillery crews can now strike with far fewer rounds while achieving far greater precision. Fourth is psychological pressure. Russian soldiers operating near the front lines know that drones may be watching them at any moment. They cannot gather in large groups, move freely during daylight, or remain in open areas for long periods. The constant threat of drone surveillance creates anxiety and exhaustion. Over time, this psychological strain can reduce combat effectiveness even if soldiers are not physically injured. Fifth is defensive monitoring. Drones patrol friendly front lines as well, providing early warning when enemy troops begin preparing an attack. If a Russian assault force begins to assemble or move toward Ukrainian positions, drones can detect it long before the attack actually reaches the trenches. This early warning allows defenders to prepare reinforcements, reposition weapons, or launch counterattacks. In many cases, the element of surprise disappears entirely. Sixth is production capacity. Ukraine has mobilized a wide network of engineers, volunteers, and technology companies to produce drones domestically. Thousands of units are assembled every month using locally sourced components. Meanwhile, supply chains for Russia often rely on imported electronics and external suppliers, which can create logistical challenges. Finally, there is the advantage of rapid innovation. Drone operators constantly experiment with new designs, tactics, and payloads. Successful ideas spread quickly between units through online communication and military coordination. What works on one battlefield today can become standard practice across the front tomorrow. This decentralized approach allows drone warfare tactics to evolve much faster than traditional military development cycles. The overall result is clear. Despite facing an opponent with greater manpower and heavier equipment, Ukraine has used drone technology to reshape the battlefield. Small unmanned aircraft have become one of the defining weapons of this war. They demonstrate that innovation, adaptability, and technological creativity can sometimes balance the scales against raw military strength. And in many ways, the tactics being developed right now are shaping the future of warfare. What we are witnessing is not just a conflict between two armies. It is also the testing ground for a new era of military technology. The lessons learned here will influence battlefields around the world for decades to come.